Elliott. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the New York Power Hour. My name is Peter, Baby Squid. Here we also have Luke, and we may or may not have Ram or Ash, depending on technical difficulties. So, gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. We got Ram. Hopefully, we got Ash. I know Ram's a little frozen right now, but hopefully the warm air can thaw him out a little bit. How are you doing tonight, Peter?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. All things considering, can't complain too much. Mets play baseball this month, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, what is it? Is it today or tomorrow? Is pitchers and catchers reporting for spring training?
I believe the official date is tomorrow. However, most of the pitchers have already reported as of a week.
Yeah, they have. They're reporting. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're reporting so hard. It's crazy. So we have pitchers and catchers. We have the Winter Olympics. We have the Super Bowl this weekend. We had Royal Rumble this past weekend. I mean, we had so much that was going on in sports, and not a lot. Just not a lot.
Some bad things.
Yeah, some bad things. I don't know. Do we want to start with the bad things? You want to talk about the bad?
I think we owe it to the bread man to start the show with him.
I think so. I think so. I think we kind of glossed over it last week. The Rangers announced that they were going to trade Artemi Panarin. That happened today. That was official. It's not, for me as a Rangers fan, it's not a surprise for how bad the team has played. It's not a surprise after Chris Drury said, "Hey, this team is going to go through a retool." And it's not a surprise after they sat him out last week for rostering reasons. My surprise is how little they got for Artemi Panarin. It was a conditional third-round pick and a late first-round draft pick of a prospect, a power forward prospect. I don't know. I know that there were a lot of big players in play for Artemi Panarin. The Kings were able to sign him to a 2-year, $11 million extension after this past season. So I don't know. I don't know if the other teams weren't willing to give him an extension. Panarin did have a no trade clause. So, was that holding up other deals? I know Washington was making a big push. Florida could not make the deal because of salary reasons. Carolina's always in the mix. And I think there was another team as well that was involved for Artemi Panarin, but he will be playing for the Los Angeles Kings. Lucky for Panarin that the IIHF will not allow Russia to play in the Olympics this year. So he'll have time to get acclimated with Los Angeles. He can't practice with the team until after the freeze, but he'll have time to get himself all set up in Los Angeles. So Peter, what are your thoughts? I mean, it's not. I can't imagine this was a surprise to you that Artemi Panarin was moved today.
No, not at all. I mean, like you said, Chris Drury pretty much said it. I wish we could retool Chris Drury personally. But as somebody that over the past couple years, hasn't been as invested in the Rangers as I have. I used to be all in. I watched almost every game. I caught, and then I popped back up when the Rangers won the President's Trophy and they went on that run. And I'll never forget, just considering his last year was so terrible, Sam Rosen's basically last iconic call on the overtime winner against the Penguins. On Panarin's overtime goal. It's just sad, and it's also weird it's going to the Kings, the team that beat the Rangers in 2012. They just love trading going back to years, they just love trading like, captains and just beloved players. And back then you can kind of see the reason why they would retool and still be strong and still make runs. But now it's just like the Rangers are dead. They don't have much hope at all for the future, I think. I doubt this is not the last like major move we're going to see as far as like losing players that we love, like Zibanejad and those guys. So it's just sad all around.
No, it is, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating the return they get back, right? Like, I'm sorry, you're not going to get much out of Liam Greentree. Like, he's not a replacement for Artemi Panarin. You're more likely than not going to find your guy in the third round of the NHL draft. And I mean, there's not really much in terms of a youth movement coming up through the ranks for the New York Rangers either. I mean, you have Gabe Perreault, who I'm very high on him, but again, what is he? A mid forward? Maybe second or third line forward at best. Lafreniere is still young, but Lafreniere has not met the expectations of a first overall pick. He's a good player in his own right. But for what, the asset that he was acquired as, he has not lived up to that expectation.
Yeah. So, you definitely expect a star out of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you could be like, the Oilers and take like Yakupov with the first overall pick, and that'd be a total bust. I mean, I wouldn't say that about Lafreniere, but again, he's not the star that you would expect from getting the first overall pick.
And you look likely to get the first overall pick again, the way things are going right now. And it's one of those years where, do you really want the number one overall pick? I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that you could argue could be the number one overall pick. And so, like, you don't necessarily have to have that first slot.
Yeah. Hockey's so weird because it's like you could have the worst record, but that, again, with the draft lottery, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the first overall pick, right? Like,
if you have the worst record, you want the one, though.
Yes. Well, obviously, and you have the best chances of doing it. But when the Rangers got the first overall pick, what was that, back in 2020? They were a bubble team that year that made it to the COVID playoffs and got knocked out in the first round. And I think they had the lowest percentage of getting the first overall pick, and they somehow lucked into it. So it's a weird thing with the NHL draft. And I'll make another point too about the NHL draft being weird, right? We talked about last year how the NHL draft was not very strong, and it was a really bad year for the Islanders to get the first overall pick. And
he's turned out pretty good.
And it seems like they have a franchise player there. Yeah. That's just me, but it seems like they have a franchise player over there. So you never know. You never know what you're going to find in an NHL draft. And I don't know. I don't think this is a team that you can just say, oh, well, we have the first overall pick. That's going to turn this team around. Like, there are so many missing pieces here. Not really much to build around, right? You can build around Igor Shesterkin, but Igor is only as good as the players that are playing in front of him. And
my thing is, you don't need a goalie whenever you're rebuilding the rest of the team. So exactly. I think they should move Igor too.
But Ash, I mean, here's the problem with how Chris Drury has run this team. It's so difficult to move guys because you have them on expensive long-term contracts. Yeah. I mean, you're basically cutting out half the league.
Especially after this year when you can't retain money. I mean, this is the last year that you can do that.
Right. And it's just, he's really pigeonholed this team. A couple of years ago, believing that this is the core that they could keep for the next 4 or 5 years. And they've totally tapered off. And he doesn't have the flexibility to make moves. And his way of trying to make flexibility is getting rid of cornerstone players like a Chris Kreider, like a Jacob Trouba, which, by the way, Chris Kreider is on the leaderboard for most goals in the NHL right now. So he's still a valuable player. Jacob Trouba is a plus defender right now, if we're talking in terms of plus minus. So I'm
still stunned that they just threw in the towel and rebuilt a year after winning the President's Trophy. Like,
no, it's absolutely it's crazy the amount of moves that they made, and just there's such little patience with Chris Drury, right? I don't know. I can't imagine that he's going to be the GM after this season with how much of a nightmare this roster is.
It's just disappointing coming in. You know, like the Rangers. I mean, they had the best record in the league 2 years ago, and then they just decide to cut it and tear it apart. Like, come on! I realize that last season was not what they wanted, but that doesn't mean you just blow it all up. I mean, you just had the best record in the league. Like.
Yeah.
And these guys weren't like aging veterans that were beyond their prime.
Yeah. You had the kid line. Like you literally had the kid line. Like
I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
No, you literally ruined a decade of consistent playoff success. Like, sure, they never won the cup, but they made it there once. They made it to a bunch of Eastern Conference finals. They usually won the first round. Like, there was sustained playoff success there, and it's just all destroyed in a year's and a half time.
Yeah. And I think the 1 year they got knocked out, they lost to the Florida Panthers, who went on to win the Stanley Cup. Right, took them to a Game 6, lost in overtime. It was a really tight series, and that was the same year they beat the Penguins in the first round, which was a phenomenal series. Down 3-1, came back to win the series in Game 7 with
and then they beat Carolina.
Yes, they beat Carolina, and they also came back on Carolina as well too. I mean, it was a team that had substance, it had meaning, and you gave it all up. You gave it all up to try and I don't know what he was trying to build. I really wish I could understand what he was trying to build. If it was this sort of mega team, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work in the NHL with how much you have in cap space. You need to run a fourth line out there. You need the grinders. You need those great guys. You need those depth third line defensemen. You can't have all puck moving defensemen, and you can't have skill guys on every line. It's just not going to work in the NHL. And I think that's what he was going for, and it absolutely blew up on him.
Well, and then like we were saying, how the tides change quickly in the NHL. It's just across town. You've got the Islanders, who just had the number 1 overall pick, and now they're in a playoff position as of today. Yeah. So like things can change quickly. Like throwing in the towel to me after one season is just not a good move. It is encouraging to see the Islanders doing well, though. I mean, I know that a lot of
encouraging isn't the word I would
about
use.
The fish sticks and all that nonsense, but this is one of the league's historically good franchises. I mean, it might have been a while, but I mean, this is one of the winningest franchises in all of the NHL.
This is a franchise that was good in the 80s, right? The three-peat, and the four-peat, and then just absolutely
7 cups. Like that's
no, I mean, it is a historic franchise for how well they played in the 80s. That then led way to the Oilers dynasty, right? But it's lacked relevance since then. It's a team that has absolutely lacked relevance since those Stanley Cup runs. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see what the sustained success is there. I'm glad that they have their franchise player in Schaefer, and let's see. We'll see if they can make the playoffs. On the flip side too, in New Jersey, I mean, the Devils have absolutely fallen off a cliff.
This is the third year in a row they've done this too. Like they've started off hot, looked like they were going to be contenders, and then just totally. And a lot of it is that they can't stay healthy.
Yep.
Yeah. That team goes as far as Jack Hughes takes them.
And he's hurt every year.
Yep.
They should move Jack Hughes this offseason.
They should absolutely move Jack Hughes in this offseason. I mean, it's for them it makes sense. Again, the retool and kind of blow it up makes sense, right? You had sort of that. I would go as far to say the miracle run a couple of years ago, where they beat the Rangers in the first round. It was first round knockout in Game 7. Last year totally fell apart, and then fell apart again this year. I mean, they need to They need to find some kind of sustained success in New Jersey as well, just as much as they do in New York.
Well, and kind of pivoting a little bit into the another subject that probably doesn't get a lot of thought amongst some of my fellow panel members, but I did want to pivot because Madison Square Garden has one of the biggest games of the year, of the calendar year, coming up on Friday night. And so I think it would be a disservice not to address the St. John's Red Storm. And basketball's a little bit more near and dear to your heart, Ram. So I'll get to welcome you to the stage. Glad you could join us tonight, my friend.
Yeah,
St. John's Red Storm. What's the talk in Queens?
Afternoon reading about Liam Greentree before we got on, because I was like, they're going to talk about the Rangers. I need to know who the hell Liam Greentree is. So I spent like an hour reading about Liam Greentree. So I hope you guys said nice things about him, because I actually had to learn.
It was just okay.
Hey,
we were underwhelmed.
Kings fans are very upset about losing him.
I'm sure they're very sad.
I'm sure they're really upset. I'm sure they're so upset.
No, I spent a good hour going into these subs to understand Liam Greentree, because this is a legitimate thing, because you guys know I don't hockey, so like I actually wanted to learn. And I wanted to see, like, okay, if we're trading Panarin, like, is this something that, is this supposed to be a superstar stud? He's a late first-round pick. Apparently, he's coming off an off-season wrist surgery, so they're not impressed with what he's been doing right now, but he was considered to be a decent prospect. So maybe he'll be something. Who knows? And I'm not even saying that with sarcasm.
Don't make me end the stream.
I think the crowd was mild.
This is a legitimate thought. Like, people said that he was a late first-rounder, and they thought he had some offensive potential, that he could have been a point-per-game right winger. And that he's coming off an off-season wrist surgery, so even though he's overaged for where he is right now, they're not. Some people are really terrified, where they think he's regressed and he's not good, and others are saying you have to give him time after the wrist surgery because he's not able to play at full health. I'm not against it. I mean, look, I don't know prospects in hockey at all, so I'm just telling you what I read, and I think it's hilarious. But apparently some Kings fans are upset because they think they're going to get something out of him. I don't know. Panarin's 34. The Rangers made it clear they were going to move him. So,
but in hockey, you can play longer. I mean,
but you weren't going to get a first for him, to my understanding, just based on his contract demands. This is an objective thought from what I read in hockey, that they said that most Rangers fans said they wanted to get a first back, and most people from outside the Rangers circle said that they probably weren't going to get one. The closest they were going to get to a first was Liam Greentree. So I don't know. I mean, we'll figure it out. Maybe he's going to come in and do something. I think it's nice that there is some people who are upset about it. I always like to go into opposing teams like subs whenever like trades happen to get a perspective on it. I don't mean that though, because that's for any sport,
you just
right?
You just want to look for the sad fan reactions. Like because
like I know a lot of Rangers fans. Dude, when the Rangers are good, and because I'll get to talking about the Knicks later too, right? When the Rangers are good, I end up talking to a whole bunch of people because we share MSG, right? And so it's one of those things where, like, I never root against the Rangers. Right, even though like my only understanding of hockey is the Leafs, and I'm very open about that. I don't root against the Rangers. I live here in New York, and I'm happy when they do well. So I don't really. And I mean, look, we just went through a couple weeks ago. I've got people in my circle who have watched the Mets lose Pete Alonso, and the Rangers lose Panarin in the same type of like, time frame where it hurts in that way, because like a very similar time frame of success of like people who you get attached to these guys. And they're gone. So, like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, they've been upset about losing some Mets, losing some Rangers, losing some Jets even. Yeah, and this isn't a shot to Peter. Like, some people really did like Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall is probably not going to stay. And Breece Hall is pretty talented for the Jets. I assume he's going to be signing someplace else.
The only person that had a worse record than the Jets this year was Sauce Gardner. It's true. It's factual. He only had 2 wins all year.
Didn't he get traded? And they didn't win a single game after they. Wow.
Yeah, and the Jets got their first round pick. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I thought I did. I did think
to fuck it up.
I think that was a really good trade. I think it was a really bad trade for the Colts.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
I think they were a lot of fluff in the beginning of the season, and management bought into that. And
Luke, are you going to look me in the eye and tell me that Daniel Jones isn't the man?
Yeah, but you wish Sam Darnold was still the man in New York.
Wow.
He would have still been seeing ghosts in New York. At least he's figured some things. I'm happy for Sam Darnold. I'm actually happy for.
You want to talk about football, Rant? It's funny because
let's put it aside. We'll come back to football.
I'm okay to talk in St. John's, UConn. I got to laugh at it earlier because I
2005.
saw that they were talking about Patino was saying there's no rivalry between St. John's and UConn.
Yeah, right.
You know,
That's
and
why the
I got a laugh
cheapest
out of
ticket
that.
to get in is $200.
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's no rivalry. Like, we're just trying to catch up. And I'm like, dude, people are clamoring for this game. I mean, FSU, St. John's, and UConn is a lot of fun for men's basketball. So there's no doubt, no matter what any of the guys. I think it's always cute when they try to downplay it. Like, yeah, it's just another game on the schedule. I'm like, no, you guys got this circle in the red, man. This is gonna be a big game for you all, and I think it should be a fun environment. There's no better place to play basketball than Madison Square Garden. So I think it's going to be a huge situation. I know that they're trying to downplay the rivalry game here thing, but it's a big deal.
This is an
That's
old
just kinda
school
Rick
Big
Pitino's
East.
thing. Like that's what he does. It's just you don't make a big deal out of anything, and it's fine. Just feels like classic Rick Pitino.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
that's
he
all
always does that. When he was at Louisville, he used to downplay the Kentucky game, saying it was just another game and all that bullshit. But everybody knew that was not true. I mean, this is just typical Pitino speak. But I got to say, this St. John squad is a very prototypical Rick Pitino basketball team. They are peaking at the right time. His teams always tend to peak late in the season. They've won 8 games in a row, 10-1 in the Big East. The season got off to a little bit of a slow start, but even with that, they're 17-5 overall. You're talking about a team that's ranked 20 in the net rankings right now, in the KenPom rankings. Sorry, you've got some really good, talented players in there with Zuby Ejiofor. He just can really bang around in there, and he can knock down a 3 to keep the defense honest. You've got Bryce Hopkins playing really well right now. And then you've got some shooters on the perimeter with Osiah Sellers, Ian Jackson, Josan Sanan. I mean, those guys can all shoot from 3. So this is a team that I'm really excited about. And you guys know for real, I was excited about this team in the preseason, thinking that this could be a really, really good St. John squad. And I think that they're really coming together at the right time. You've got a really hot ticket Friday night in the Garden. So if you are a St. John's fan and you're not trying to get a ticket for this game, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? I mean, you've got the number 1 team in the nation, 22-1, UConn coming into your building. You cannot let all those guys from stores come over and get those tickets. I realize that, the cheapest seat in the building is $200 right now on the secondary market, but you've got to pay it. I mean, how long was St. John's irrelevant? They hadn't done anything since the 1990s until Rick Pitino came and elevated them to being a legitimate program on the national scene again. So this is just one of those pivotal moments in St. John's men's basketball history, because a win could propel them to getting a good seed in the NCAA tournament. And like I said, I mean, you've got Zuby Ejiofor. That guy's a really talented player. Get out there and support him. Like this.
Yeah, and I think it's a big deal for seeding too, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Because right now they're looking to be about like a 5 or a 6. I'm biased, and I'll give them closer to a 5, right? On an 8-game win streak, they're looking good. But even if they've got the 5 in hand, you want the protected 4. And if you want that bigger seed, you got to win here. So like
a 3 is not out of the question for them.
I think aiming for a top 4 is a big thing compared to where they used to be for years, right? So, like, the fact you got to win on Friday. St. John's takes this win, you got a legitimate argument to say, okay, we're a top 4 seed, right? So this is a big deal. This is something they need. And if UConn wins just business as usual, they'll probably stick it and figure out around the 5 or so. But you want to shoot for high. I mean, you want to play close to home for those, like, first few rounds. So I think it's a big deal, especially with the fact you've been able to pick up some momentum. Your guys are healthy right now. They must be talking about this, even if they don't talk about it openly. Because, like you guys are right, Pitino speak. They know what to say to the media. Fine, right? But this is a big deal. This game is a huge deal for them, and they know it. And I think they're going to take it seriously. I, for one, would love to see them win, for the obvious.
Yeah, because you're a UConn guy. We know.
No, I
you
mean,
love Huskies.
I love both teams actually, which is really funny because like I have to because.
Well, yeah, you're the mayor. You're the mayor of Queens. You can't say anything bad about St. John's.
No,
this
I
game
legally
harkens
cannot
back
say
to
that.
those Jim Calhoun. Shoot, I'm blanking. What was the '80s St. John's coach?
No, I'm 30. I don't know. I can't tell you.
No, not PJ. He was the Seton Hall coach.
That's right.
Carnesca?
Yeah. Oh, Carnesecca. Yeah, Luke Carnesecca.
Carnesecca, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
'cause
how I'm
Carnesecca,
blanking on that name. I mean, I'm a college basketball junkie. You've got a current Hall of Famer in Rick Pitino. You've got another Hall of Fame coach on the other side. I mean, this is a classic Big East matchup. I can't believe that, that why would you not go to this game? If you live in New York and you like college basketball, you've got to go. Rick Pitino teams always play really good defense, and that's been the hallmark for this St. John's team. And then, like I said, you've still got some guys that can shoot the ball and make plays. So this has the settings and all the makings of being a classic matchup that defines the regular season and the Big East this year. The two top teams. I know Seton Hall's near and dear to your heart, Luke. But they've faded a little bit since Big East play has started, and St. John's is rising, and of course UConn has stayed right there at the top.
They absolutely suck. It's okay. They're going
to make the postseason.
You talk about prototypical. You talk about prototypical. St. John's teams. This is so like prototypical of Seton Hall, right? They build up the momentum. They make you believe that they're a good team, and then Big East play starts, and they just shit the bed. They're so bad. They're 6-6 right now. They lost to Villanova. I think they beat Marquette earlier this week. I think they lost to DePaul.
Marquette is awful.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how far that program has fallen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was only a couple years ago, right? What's his name?
They were one of the better teams in the country just a couple years ago.
Because wasn't UConn a few years ago, Marquette was like a legitimate threat. So in my head, I always think of them as a legitimate threat, but they have fallen off.
They oh my god, yeah, we did lose to DePaul. That's awful. I don't think I've ever remembered losing to DePaul. That's embarrassing. No, yeah, Marquette, what was it? It was it Shaka Smart? He was the coach?
Yeah, he's still there.
He's still there. Wow.
And this may be his last year there though.
No, I mean if they're playing this bad, I mean, oh my god, they're 3-9. They're 3-9 in the Big East, 8-15. I think it's time to move on from Shaka Smart. But no, Seton Hall they get your hopes up and then they just rip it away from you. Always the tournament darling is Seton Hall, and then they just get bounced in the first round. Everyone's like, "Oh, look out! Seton Hall's a sleeper. They could make it through."
Shaheen Holloway, they made a run.
No, they made a run when he was with St. Peter's. He's never made the tournament as a Seton Hall coach. I don't even think they've had a sniff at the tournament. I think their only chance is a Hail Mary winning the Big East tournament, like UConn won the Big East tournament. That's it. That's really our only chance of making it to the tournament at this point. And that's been our only chance the last 3 years with Holloway as the coach.
Well, and that's where I say you can't take this for granted if you're a St. John's fan, because they were good in the 80s with Lou Carnesecca, and then they had a massive gap between Carnesecca and when they had Felipe Lopez and those guys in the 90s, and Zendon Hamilton. And then after Hamilton and Felipe, I mean, they were really bad, the dregs of the conference for years. Basically 20 years of nothing. And then you get Rick Pitino, who's won a national championship at 2 different schools in the past, made the tournament at now 5 different schools. I mean, this is one of the elite coaches in the history of the game. I mean, he took the Knicks to the playoffs. People want to talk about his run in Boston being so bad, but he did coach the Knicks to the playoffs and then left for Kentucky. But, this is one of the elite coaches in basketball history, a Hall of Famer on the sidelines. Don't take it for granted. I mean, you never know what can happen when you change coaches. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. But this is one of the better St. John's teams of the last 30 years. So get out there and watch them.
Yeah, there's a lot of popular basketball going on right now. I mean, they get to play on Friday night because the Knicks are out of town, but the Knicks are of themselves on an 8-win streak. They finished that up just a little bit before we started the pod tonight after a double overtime win against the Denver Nuggets, which was a lot of fun. And they've gotten right back on track on their end. I'll pull up a little image of their recent games to stay.
Wait, they went to double overtime?
They did go to double overtime. So
how?
when the score
'Cause
is
you
tied
tie
at the
after
end
first.
of
No,
regulation. you go to
no.
overtime,
I was
and then
okay. Let me backtrack and give some context. I was out and I was watching the game, and I watched overtime, and overtime had ended, and I left, and I thought they won. So what the hell happened after I left?
Yeah, they don't do a free throw shooting contest or something like they would do in the NHL, you know?
Yeah, what happened? Was there something that happened in the first overtime at the end of the first overtime? Because I know there was something. There was a 3-pointer at the end of the first overtime, and then there was a foul call and something happened. What happened? What happened after I left? I thought it was game over. I could go home.
So it looked like the Knicks had won in the first overtime, but they whistled the foul basically for Bridges on Braun, and then he had to hit 2 free throws that tied it at 119. So they went into another OT when Brunson scored 6 straight points, and the Knicks ended up winning 134-127. So they did go. I know you weren't asking about the concept of double overtime, but that is what happened here. Like they ended up with it looks like the Knicks were gonna. Unless you want me to explain double overtime.
Yeah, can you explain how overtime works? I'm very confused right now.
So when a mommy basketball team and a daddy basketball team like each other very much, and they end up with a tie game at the end of 4 quarters. I know you're used to less time in the hockey world, but we have 4 quarters over here in basketball. When the 4 quarters are done, if the game is tied, we go into extra extended time to determine a winner.
Nice.
They don't do a 3-point shooting contest, as Ash was referring to, or anything like that. They just continue to play the game of basketball. And if for some reason the game is still tied after 5 minutes of extended time, we do it again until we finish the quarter without there being a tie in the scoring. And that's what happened tonight with the Knicks and the Nuggets. There was a tie after the extended time.
No, Luke, they don't. They play with.
You only get 2 timeouts in overtime, so you've already used 1. So be careful here.
Yeah. No, do they get like a ghost player or something like that on the court when they play?
No, we don't get a Manfred man or a ghost player or a starting from the last position or anything like that. They just have to continue to play basketball.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on getting rid of second overtime and just doing like a dunk contest? I think that would be pretty cool, and I think that would save a lot of time.
I'm on the proponent of more of a sport. I like I have the unpopular opinion in baseball of liking more baseball. So when they talk about the idea of cutting down games in less time, I'm not really for it. I like the idea.
I love the Manfred man though. That's the best.
Yeah, we know you love the ghost.
Here we go. Ash,
you don't like the ghost runner, which is crazy.
Ash loves.
It's not a fucking ghost runner. There's a real life person there at second base.
I think Ash is the only person who watches baseball that loves Robert Manfred. I am
Was
genuinely
it Peter that called it the Manfred man? Is that who I'm stealing the term from?
No. I think we collectively use Manfred man. I've been saying it for a while because I remember laughing at the fact that everyone says ghost runner, you want to commit a murder. But
didn't you guys ever play wiffle ball? I mean, come on, we know what a ghost runner is. You don't have enough kids to have an actual runner out there at second base because it's their turn to bat. So they call ghost runner and they come and bat.
Yeah, but if
there's a real person out there, he's not a ghost.
We can apply that same concept here.
Nobody was on second, and
now they're there.
Like a ghost. How it just appears.
Anyway, back to the Knicks.
How did a lot of basketball?
Please give us your breakdown of the New York Knicks and not my asinine comments on second overtime.
No, I loved it. It's great. This
real quick, can there be a third overtime?
There can be a third and a fourth overtime. There can be as many.
So they stop after 4?
Yeah, then it's a 3-point shooting.
Well, we had a classic college basketball game go to 7 overtimes in the Garden once. So I mean,
were you there for that?
I was not. I've never been to the Garden.
No, you should make a trip to New York.
Been. What?
You should make a trip to New York and go.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I've also never been to the Garden.
I'll volunteer you to drive, Luke. You can pick me up on the way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, when we know.
I don't know. 3 hours. 3 hours is a little far for me to go pick you up.
We'll get into that after the show. Back to the Knicks.
The win streak started obviously with a trouncing of the Nets, as you can see here, where they beat the Nets by almost 60
points. The Nets exist. I mean, come on.
Wait, I didn't realize that the Knicks can play AAU teams during the season. That's crazy.
Yeah, they apparently can, and the score 120-66 is not a typo.
I wanted to be a Nets fan.
I do, and they hate me. because I make fun of them religiously. It's like
They
part
had
of
almost
my
no
regular...
fans in New Jersey, and then they moved the team, and they have even less somehow.
Look, I have made this very clear, and if I haven't, I'll state it again. You know, I'll remove this image, and how do I? Let me see if I can zoom in on my own face here, because I need it to be very clear. Yes. So, Nets fans are not real. What Nets fans are people who watch the Knicks and they thought the Nets were going to be good. So they gave up on the Knicks and decided to jump on the bandwagon of what they thought would be the cool new team in the Brooklyn Nets because they had stars. And they turned around and they got on Twitter and got real happy and said, look, we're getting Kevin Durant. The Knicks suck. The Knicks will never experience happiness. You guys will never get anything. We're going to have more chips than LeBron and everything like that. And then they got exactly what they deserved. The Nets sucked. They couldn't figure out anything. They couldn't figure out their head from their ass. They couldn't figure out how to play basketball. They couldn't figure out how to sell tickets. They had no idea what was going on. And now those people who left the Knicks fans, because they're generally from New York, because New Jersey didn't have a basketball team to care about that wasn't college, they don't have a place to go because they can't come back to the Knicks because we'll just mock them for the rest of their lives as like fake and posers and pathetic and really, really just something that we can laugh at and we can just point and say, this is really funny. It didn't work for you. So they have no place to go because you can't also openly cheer for the Nets because then you're telling everybody, hey, look, it's me, I'm stupid. And so it's really a tough situation if you're quote unquote a Nets fan because you're just not a person anymore. You've given up on reality, and I know it's hard. It's very difficult for you out there. There are no support groups because all the good people are still rooting for the Knicks, and we're having a great time. We're having a great, great time. But that's where we are. So, yeah, returning back to the win streak, this minor league team played the Knicks 8 games ago, and the Knicks won 120-66, almost doubled them up in an actual NBA game where they won by 54. And I think that's hilarious. And I have no problem spending extra time on that because that's just really funny.
Can I dunk on the Nets real quick?
Absolutely. Because everybody else did in that game. Everybody else on the Knicks roster did.
I'll keep it real short. As the only current resident here in the podcast from New Jersey, I was the recipient of a lot of free Nets ticket giveaways because, you know, nobody wanted to go to Nets games. So I'll never forget, there was one where if you donated blood, you got 2 free tickets to a Nets game. So my mom, she's like, yeah, I'll just do it. Whatever. It's a good cause. They could not accept her blood because she left the country in the last 6 months, but she still got the tickets.
They're like, please take them off our hands. We need to give away these Nets tickets. They're actually less than worthless.
It was the thought that counted, you know?
And then, of course,
after Trump,
I went in my Chauncey Billups Knicks jersey to be an asshole.
That's nice. I like that. I think all the Knicks needed really was just run roughshod through the Nets and beat them by 54 because since then they beat actual decent teams in the 76ers, the Raptors, the Lakers game was really good, and of course the Nuggets here in double OT. So they've gotten back on track. One of the most important parts of this stretch, though, however, is that if you look at what they've been holding other teams to, I mean, 101, 100, 97, 92, 87, Sixers game being 109, but again, under 100 there with the Nets, I mean, under 70. The defense is kind of shored up, and the Knicks have been able to score pretty much what they've needed to throughout the season, but their defensive lapses is what was hurting them. So the fact that they've turned around, they figured these things out, this is a big deal. They are now facing the Pistons on Friday night, which also turns out to be a huge game because the Knicks are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and the Pistons are the number 1, and the Pistons have beaten them before. So this is not a must-win for the Knicks, if I'm being honest. I'm not going to make this dramatic or anything like that, but with the way that they've been playing, considering they've won 8 in a row and they're going into Detroit, it would be real nice for them to take this win en route to maybe taking the number 1 seed in the East. Obviously, that's where they would like to be. If not, I mean, I don't know. I hate to break it to people, but it's not the end of the world in the regular season here if you don't beat them because playoff basketball is a very different form of basketball. So I'm not panicked. I still like the Knicks. I'm still calm. But yes, of course, I would love for them to win on Friday, and I really hope that they do because that would be 9 in a row. And to go over to Detroit and beat them on their home court would be a huge momentum booster where we are in the season. Get a lot of momentum going into the All-Star break later this year. And All-Star break is coming up in about a week and a half or so. We'll see some stuff like the dead dunk competition, and we'll see LeBron show up for, I think, his 23rd straight All-Star game, which is something that I find to be a ridiculous thought. The idea that any one human being can go to 23 consecutive All-Star games in any sport is actually bonkers to me.
Yeah.
So I still can't get over. I mean it, like, legitimately, that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, this is 22 or 23 straight All-Star games. I'll have to check. But that's crazy. In a sport that actually takes their all-star stuff, like, seriously, that's nuts.
I don't know if I'd say they take it serious.
I think
compared to the other
All-Star
teams.
game the only All-Star game that really is any decent is MLB, and
yeah, but the thing is, MLB also has that. MLB has that requirement of.
No one watches the MLB All-Star game.
MLB has that requirement.
it's the highest rated of any of them.
Because there are no other sports going
There's
on.
literally nothing at that time.
Like, there is nothing else to watch.
Oh, but people are outside and going to do things, and maybe going to the lake or going to the beach
on a Tuesday night. On a Tuesday night in the middle of July,
traveling.
I'm just gonna go out to the lake.
And 3/4 or half the country lives where it's still daylight when the All-Star game comes on. So
the fucking All-Star game isn't even the most exciting event of the weekend. It's the home run derby.
It is. Actually, I agree with you on that. It's the best of. It has the best weekend-long festivities of any of them. The dunk contest is so overgrown at this point.
People still show up. People still show up for the NBA one, though. They like the skills.
Well, people show up for the Pro Bowl. Like, who cares about the Pro Bowl?
The Pro Bowl is a joke at this point.
The Pro Bowl is hilarious.
An absolute joke.
I love that they didn't even do it the week before. They did it on a Tuesday night because they themselves knew that nobody cared. No. But no,
unless you count, I have to retract a little bit, because do you count the Four Nations thing last year as the All-Star break? Because if so, that was by far the best of any of the four sports.
Right. Well, and then you talk about this year is like the Olympic break overtakes the All-Star game. Like, yes, those are significantly better than the MLB. The NHL, I mean, the NHL All-Star weekend is exciting too. Like, they've thrown in some contests in there, and I like that they've moved. I've liked that they moved over to the 3-on-3 format. Right. Like, in previous years, the All-Star game was actually a snore fest because it's 5-on-5. The guys don't really hit each other, and it's just, they're just going to move through. Now they made it 3-on-3. It's more skill based. It's still like high octane moving.
Do they have a fight competition for like the NHL All-Star thing? Like, do they have like a who throws the hardest punch?
Yes.
Why wouldn't
they get an octagon out there on the ice?
I think you need to write a letter.
As a UFC fan, right? Like, I don't know hockey and I know UFC, and most of the times when I turn on like playoff hockey, like, somebody's getting haymakered, right? So like, I would assume, like, I see more haymakers than I do goals. So we don't have a goal shooting competition in hockey. The All-Star weekend has to have like a haymaker. Like, get one of those machines that you put the bag and you just swing, right?
I think you need to stop. I think you need to stop talking right now, because I think you've struck gold with this, and we need to talk after and put up a proposal to Gary Bettman, because this is amazing.
It should be a thing, right?
It is absolutely amazing. Like, they had the hardest slap shot, which is like, sort of like the big man, sort of like that big man competition, like Zdeno Chara used to win every year. But no, this is even better. Like, I want to see who's like the best fighter in the NHL. Like, that would be awesome for NHL.
Honestly, the NHL All-Star game peaked when John Scott got voted in.
Yes.
And then the NHL made him get sent down and tried to not call him up, but the fans revolted. It peaked, and it hasn't been good since.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I saw in the early 2000s, Shaq took like 8 threes in one of the All-Star games. I was like, okay,
which is hilarious.
These guys don't care about the All-Star game either.
But that's why it was funny. It was great because Shaq was Shaq was trying to cross somebody over. I remember that game, by the way. I think it was like 0-1. Shaq was like trying to cross like Allen Iverson. It was hilarious because he can't dribble for shit. They have fun. They have fun in the NBA All-Star game. They knew what they were doing. But I think what I mean about taking it seriously, though, is like the voting. Like, the fan voting is still a big thing. Like, it does tend to be, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
I think like the closest to an actual All-Star team is the NBA. Because, like, the MLB has to do that rule where they do, like, one person from every team type of thing. And so you are going to see some guys make it that necessarily are not what you would think of as all-stars, right? And I think with the NBA, like generally you do see the best players voted in for the most part. It does shade to bigger markets, I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, you see people vote in the better players. And so LeBron getting it for 22 straight years is insane to me because he still kind of deserves it. He still plays better than half the league, which is nuts to me considering he is an aging star. But yeah, that's the basketball talk. The Knicks and Pistons will be a big game on Friday, and we'll talk about it next week because we'll still have some time before the NBA All-Star break.
I hate that game is going to be on at the same time as the St. John's UConn game.
You'll be okay, Ash.
Well, I'll be okay. Yeah.
I will be switching between both. I'm probably not.
And I did not. You put that graphic up there of the Knicks win streak. I did not know until tonight that there was a Prime Video NBA TV package this year.
Yeah. So actually, this is an interesting one. Prime Video bought some NBA. The NBA also did a partnership with NBC, and now we have NBA on NBC again, which I have I've told this multiple times. Round Ball Rock, the NBA and NBC theme song, is one of the best sports themes that has ever been created across the board. And so I absolutely think it's fun.
Basketball.
Yeah, no, legitimately. No,
it's a lyrics-based song.
It is a legitimately good song. And the fact that NBA is back, like that Lakers game, actually, to bring this back up, this Lakers game here was a Sunday night Knicks and Lakers like NBA on NBC matchup. And they did an whole production for it. They had Michael Jordan on the pregame talking about playing at Madison Square Garden. They put a lot of effort into this whole thing. And that was really cool. I mean, for me, like watching, it's hit or miss with Michael Jordan, but just the fact that you've got Jordan doing interviews about the games and commenting about basketball is a really big thing for me. So I thought that was fun. And Prime Video's got their own thing going on too. They have their own specific pre-show, and they have been having a lot of fun. So yeah, we've got Prime Video basketball as well, and you'll see that if anyone wants. If you have Amazon Prime and you have Prime Video, you get the game as part of your Prime Video package, so you will be able to see it on Friday night.
Well, and then
watch it on Stream East.
Speaking of stuff that's been ruined. It ruined our basketball experience whenever the NBA left NBC because, I mean, that was the home of basketball for the longest time. But ESPN has freaking ruined Inside the NBA.
ESPN's ruined everything.
I mean, the 4-letter network can go to hell. I mean, come on.
ESPN is not good. ESPN Plus.
They've been on like 4 times this year.
I do not think they know what they're doing at the network. I feel like, and I remember like I used to look forward to like everything like SportsCenter. Like I'd watch SportsCenter and ESPN News like religiously just because I'm like, oh, I keep track of everything this way, and it just no longer hits the same, and it's so weird to me.
It's become an infomercial, but I just can't believe that they had what was the best. I don't know if you want to call it post-game show or whatever you want to classify.
I can argue that. Yes, I would agree with that.
They had the best show of that kind in any sport. And they've just not taken advantage of it. Everybody's like, oh, TNT's losing, TBS is losing, TBS is losing basketball. What are we going to do about, Kenny, Shaq, and I'm blanking, Ernie.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
And I said Kenny Charles and Shaq. That whole crew was like the best of any of those weekend or recap shows in any sport. And it was like, okay, well, they're just going to slide over and they'll do it on ESPN. They don't do it weekly at all. I mean, I think they've done it 5 times the entire season.
Yeah, no, that's embarrassing. And I don't follow it as much, but that's embarrassing.
I would not watch the game sometimes and still turn on Inside the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, just the Shaq and Charles Barkley, clash. Like they could say anything, right? It's just the intrigue to watch inside NBA. And if that's true, like if they've only put those guys on 4 or 5 times throughout the season on ESPN, that's a shame. Just a tremendous talent that they have there. And it's just wasted.
It's ruined.
Yeah. Basketball's ruined.
Did we need to talk any more football? Because I know Peter tried to, and I hijacked it. But
no, nothing changed for the Giants or Jets. Huh?
Well, the Jets hired Frank Reich, but I wasn't going to try and talk about the Jets. I was trying to talk about Rutgers beating Louisville. Since you wanted to hurt me,
it was like 2006 or something. Like,
yeah, it's still haunted. It's still haunted. But anyway, I
Jerry
do think this is
Ito
a
doesn't
long.
exist.
He did when he hit that mulligan field goal.
Get out of here.
But I'm
What
pretty
about
sure
the
this
Mets?
is.
Is there any news with the Mets?
Let me actually ask you then, Peter. Do you have any thoughts on Frank Reich? Legitimately, do you have any thoughts on Frank Reich?
I think he is. I think the Jets did a roundabout way of hiring their new head coach.
I think it's a good hire.
Yeah, because I got to be honest with you, I do think it's not a bad hire.
I don't think it fucking matters.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. I think he's the bridge
I am
coach.
100% with Peter. I don't think it fucking matters. This roster is so bad. You could bring in, you could bring in 3 Hall of Fame coaches to run this
Honestly,
team.
I wouldn't have gotten rid of Glenn. I would have just let him run out there another year. I mean, because this is just a bridge coach.
Didn't get rid of Glenn. Reich is their offensive coordinator.
Oh my God, I'm thinking head coach, not.
I mean, I wish they got rid of Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know why I was thinking he was hired for the head
Peter,
coach.
but again, it doesn't matter. Like, if you brought in Harbaugh as your head coach, you're not going to the playoffs.
This is true.
I'd feel better about
this
it.
is
No,
but Luke, you are 100% right. Luke is 100% right.
What do you feel good about? You as an organization has just wasted.
I feel good that
this talent in bringing him to the Jets because this roster is not good. It's not a good team. They should not have been looking this offseason saying, "Oh, we're one coach away from getting this team together." They are so far away right now. They're so far away.
No, I think the shining light of the Frank Reich thing, which is going to sound really somber, but if they fire Glenn midseason, at least you have a guy who can interim coach the team the rest of the way.
Sure. And maybe he gets his tryout to be the head coach.
Yeah. Maybe I'm okay with it, but I agree with you 100%, Luke, because you're right. You could take God himself and bring him down to coach the Jets, and it would not work. No, I mean, John Harbaugh coaches the Jets.
Listen, I'm fairly certain that God wouldn't have anything to do with a Woody Johnson-owned team right now. Just saying.
I agree.
Just really quick on the NFL front. If we're moving off from it, what is really crazy is we talked about last week about NFL owners and Robert Kraft and Woody Johnson. And I would say, I think it was the next day, it came out with the Steve Tisch being on the Epstein files. Like, we need to stop talking about this kind of stuff because we bring this stuff to existence.
I'm not hiding it, dude. I think I openly said Robert Kraft is not a good man and very openly talked about that on last week's thing.
Yeah,
he is not a good man. I can tell you why. And that's why he doesn't deserve to win on Sunday, amongst other reasons that I am clearly not biased for. But Robert Kraft does not deserve a Super Bowl win on Sunday.
He also did not make it to the first ballot Hall of Fame, so at least I didn't leave this season with.
The funny thing for me, for 1 year, is I get to make the joke that Tom Brady must have been a good quarterback because he did not have a Hall of Fame owner or coach. So it must have been Tom Brady because he didn't have a Hall of Fame coach or owner. So I guess he must have figured something out.
But look, you know what? I disagree with you. I think we should keep talking about it because I think that this is the closest I can get to getting Woody Johnson out of my fucking life.
But I mean, look, we got no. I don't think we have any baseball stuff to talk about unless we're talking about a former Yankee IKF going to the Red Sox.
I listen. I think
Lindor is not playing in the WBC.
Well, I don't know about that whole thing. I can talk about the WBC as a general concept. I do think when they were talking about that this insurance thing is being a little bit fishy, that they're right. They are definitely being asshole about it, and I think we can be clear about it. We know that's what's going on. So, and that's not like a specific knock on anybody. It's just the fact that like a lot of Latin players have expressed their desire to go play. They're not getting insurance and they may not be able to play. And the only reason MLB is looking it over again is that Puerto Rico threatened to pull out as a team from the WBC, which is not fun. So Lindor might still yet play. We don't know what the whole conclusion of that thing is yet.
I could see the insurance thing on Carlos Correa because like he's had so many injuries in recent years. But, I mean, when they talk about the things he has to do just to be able to play, like amount of like stretches and different things that he has to do just to be able to play on a normal basis, like I could understand an insurance company saying we're not going to insure this guy.
Right.
But the Lindor one caught me by a little bit of surprise.
Right. I mean, this happened the last WBC with Clayton Kershaw. right?
Right.
They refused. They refused to insure him because he was getting.
I wouldn't insure any pitcher if I was an insurance company, to be honest.
Oh God, no. Yeah. So I mean, it's not. This isn't a foreign concept, but I agree. I mean, the Lindor one is a little weird. No prior injury history, really. What is he? He's 31, 32.
I think it's 32 because I believe we're like 3 days apart. I'll confirm that for you.
Yeah, 32 years old. I'm sure there's plenty of 32-year-olds that are playing in the WBC. So I'm a little confused about that one.
My thing is like MLB started this thing as a way to grow the game. So why the hell do they even have to get insurance to be able to play? Like I get it from the insurance company's perspective on a guy like Carlos Correa.
I get it from the owner's perspective, right? Like I have my players.
Well, the league should just provide the insurance.
Sure, and we can have that argument. Who should be paying the insurance? I agree. I think there should be insurance on these players because if something happens, like what happened to Diaz, like something freak happens.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with it. I look, but Ash is right. Like the league brought this in, and I love this obviously, but they brought it in because they want to grow the sport, right? Okay, cool. So provide
and it has.
And it has, and it will continue to do that because it works that way. I mean, we joke about cricket in the BDS server, right? But these things like soccer and cricket do well because of world play, international play, right? Even the NFL is traveling to Paris, and granted, they're giving them the Browns, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
but
they gave us Statue of Liberty. We give them the Browns.
They're giving them the Saints too, and Tyler Shook. Yeah. They're gonna have a lot of overseas games again, and like that's.
Meanwhile, MLB had to cancel their Paris game, so.
Now they're but they do overseas too. I mean, I give them the credit. But the World Baseball Classic is good for that. They should cover it, right? I mean, I am the last person on planet Earth to ever say that the owners deserve anything more. But if the point of the WBC is to grow the sport, then it shouldn't be on the owners to insure the players. I do think that from an owner's perspective, it makes sense. I mean, they look at it financially. Right, they don't care if the sport necessarily grows internationally. They're making their money from.
But they make more money when the sport grows internationally.
Agreed, but I don't think they should have to cover the insurance. I do think it should be something provided by the league. I do think that the league should go ahead and take care of that because you're putting out the World Baseball Classic, you're behind that, then make it happen. It shouldn't be an extra expense.
This is hilarious because normally I'm the one. The roles are reversed in this argument.
I know,
so much
because I cannot stand anything that says something nice about the owners, and I usually ask for Rob Manfred to die on a regular basis. And I'm
usually the one that, even though I don't really like the owners, I'm usually coming across as more defensive of the owners.
I'd be surprised if you say that you don't like the owners, man. Like, I feel like if we panned out like your 0.5, like your background, there's like a Rob Manfred trophy in the back of your thing or something like that.
Ash loves Rob Manfred. Like I heard he has a shrine of Rob Manfred in his basement.
If they would freaking expand the league, I mean, what the hell has happened? It's been 30 years since we've had expansion. Like, come on.
You just want a team in Nashville, and then Luke can go see them.
I don't care if there's a team in Nashville. My preference has always been Portland and Montreal.
Mine is either Montreal, probably Montreal and Nashville, or like Montreal and like something crazy like Puerto Rico. I want something weird because I like weird.
San Juan and Portland. Those would be the two that would be awesome.
I would, for me, I'd say
that. Don't say that.
Portland is
all
my
the Puerto
number
Rican
one.
players are going to want to go there.
Let them play there. I want San Juan and Montreal, man.
Look how fun of an atmosphere those places provide.
Also, that's not true, Peter, because it's not like the Canadian guys are rushing to the Blue Jays like I must represent the Toronto. Blue Jays,
there's so many Canadian players in the MLB that they're all rushing to Toronto.
There are a lot of them, man. There's a lot of Canadian players.
There's like 5.
We do need to have more than one Canadian team. That, in my opinion, though.
I would agree with that. I think it's a great market, especially considering where Montreal is.
The problem is what the NHL faces in the Canadian dollar is just so much weaker, and so it's hard on the franchises, and that's what the NHL teams already see. But that's that I don't know how you change that. So
and there's always that inherent bias for the players that they don't want to go play in Canada for one because it's colder up there, and two because of the taxes. So I mean, you're always going to fight that. You're always going to fight that fight with another Canadian team, and it depends on
with no cap,
right? Well, and it depends on the ownership, right? Like Toronto's ownership has been willing to spend money It really depends on the ownership group that the MLB brings in for Montreal. If they can find someone with deep pockets like they did with Toronto, I think they can make it work because they'll put a team out there. But if you bring in an ownership group like, gosh, I can't even say Pittsburgh anymore because they're actually trying to spend money this offseason. But like the Marlins.
Credit to Pittsburgh for trying, by the way. I keep seeing the rumors they were in on Framber and stuff like that. I'm like, look at them trying.
The problem is when you're in that situation, you have to extremely overpay to get that first guy to commit. If you remember, the Nationals did that back with Jason Worth. Like when they signed Jason Worth, everybody was like, holy shit, the Nationals are signing a free agent.
They had to overpay.
And it's because they gave him so much more money than anybody else was willing.
Right. But again, my frustration with the Pirates is they've had good players and they've just traded them away.
And they have a good TV package, and they have a good stadium.
It's not like they've needed to overpay on guys to bring them in. They've had them, and they've just gotten rid of them, and because they refuse to pay them in the future.
Well, and what's this awkwardness that they have going on with Andrew McCutchen, right? I realize this is totally not New York.
He talked
this
about
awkwardness that they have going on with Andrew McCutchen is turning me off bad.
Yeah.
It's turning into the Frank Thomas and White Sox stuff.
By the way, there's like 24 Canadians in the MLB, Luke. You're probably right. I was just looking that up while we were talking about it, and there's like not enough Canadians to field the roster. So
I think I can name I think Freddie Freeman identifies as Canadian.
Freddie Freeman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I can give you Naylor and Jonah Dong, who is going to be a Mets pitcher in the future, is a Canadian.
Edward Julian is another one.
Matt Brash off the Mariners. Otto Lopez off the Mariners. Tyler O'Neill.
James Paxton. I don't even know.
Oh, the Big Maple.
The Big Maple. I don't know if he even still pitches anymore, but
I doubt his arm is like in a ditch somewhere.
He's shot.
All
the Canadian players are going to flock up there, just like all the Puerto Rican players.
I mean, it would be rough if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is actually from Montreal, man. So I mean, that's a.
Those old clips of him out on the field as a kid are cool.
They make me very happy. He's one of my favorite players in the league. That's not a Met. I talk about this openly.
Have you guys been following the guy from Montreal that's been trying to lead an effort to get the team? I've been posting about it in the Discord and stuff every now and then. But this guy is cool. I keep reading all his stuff. He's identified like different landmarks for a new stadium, and it seems like he has money, just doesn't have enough to be a team on.
They would absolutely. I think their fan base would absolutely be very happy for the Expos. And honestly, I mean, they did have a lot of good players come through Montreal back in the day. So,
and if you look at their attendance in the 80s when they were good with Gary Carter and those guys, they packed Olympic Stadium. They just got screwed in the 90s with the strike and all that.
I think that's a big part of it, honestly, and I do think that I think they would be very receptive to a new team. I'm also big on the idea of expansion and kind of going ahead into that, like, new 8 divisions, 4 teams each type of thing. I don't want anything weird, like I don't want the Yankees and Mets in the same division. I think that'd be horrible. But
Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, and
Phillies. I think
Phillies.
That's gonna be murder. Everyone will just hate each other. That'd be a very hateful division.
Yeah, there's a lot of hate.
I don't like the idea of that at all. I think that's
actually, if you got the Expos, you could do the Expos, the Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox.
Yeah, but I don't want the Yankees and Mets in
right, the same I think that the core point I agree is that the Yankees and Mets should not be in the same.
You could put the Phillies in our division. You could keep the Red Sox in your division. That's fine. Yankees and Mets, they need to be separated, right? Like it is a novelty that of what the Subway Series is, right? You play a couple times a year. And you duke it out, and then you go your separate ways, and you each win your own division, and it's great.
Right? Why don't we just get rid of divisions and have no playoffs and do a table format like you do in soccer?
What are you, a communist? Get the fuck out.
Why don't we just get rid of standings and winning losses?
Can I just cut it off now?
You know what? We'll play 6 innings, and we give everyone
every team gets
at the end of the
everyone gets a playoff game.
You know what? We'll get rid of pitchers. We'll put tees up there, and we'll just play t-ball, and it'll be great. And
every inning starts with a runner at second base.
No. And then the most you can get is a single, and then everyone just moves around the bases, and then once you score 5 runs in an inning, the inning's over. I think that's how
everybody they just bat the lineup around every inning.
We have conveniently hit our hour mark, folks, so we can just sign off here. Yeah, we don't need to do final thoughts or anything. This is great. This is great.
We're improving sports here, okay?
Yeah.
On behalf of Rob Manfred, I'm going to go around the room and give you guys a chance to give some closing thoughts.
I'll go first because I think this is fun because it makes Peter angry. So, Justin Fields declined a Pro Bowl invite. And I just
think the Pro Bowl is such a joke. I think
with the Pro Bowl being such a legitimate function in current day sports and all-star games and things like that, the fact that Justin Fields had to decline being Justin Fields is going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. You know, I think that I don't know. I just thought it was interesting for the sake of Peter. Hated on him so much, and this is going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. Yeah, I think that's rough.
I'm really glad that earlier in the show you were shitting on the NFL Pro Bowl and how it's not important and nobody.
I think the Pro Bowl is such an amazing, and they do it so well where they do the football and the flags. I think
we have the best football.
Listen, Peter,
they have the best
Pro Bowl,
of that.
The Pro Bowl is the most exciting of all of the All-Star games.
I think so. Until the NHL adapts my idea to start hitting people as a contest for their All-Star weekend, and in that case, I will be biased towards them.
I think you need to stop talking about them in public, and just
why don't you go next, Luke? What do you have to share with us?
I'll go next. Yeah, I don't have much. I just I don't have anything important to say. Just fire Chris Drury. Let's move on. Let's get spring training started. Because I can't handle this hockey season anymore. I need something else to occupy my time. I can't keep doing CBL stuff and pretending that my team is improving. I need actually something.
The ABA team is improving.
We're not talking about that.
Freddie Freeman, that was a big trade.
This is not a ABA podcast.
I actually thought that was a steal that you got Freddie Freeman for.
Let's not say that on air. Let's not say that in public. It was.
I think it was
the first baseman in that league.
I know. I think it was.
I want to say, all right, maybe final thought here. If you are a fantasy owner out there and you watch this show, you need to get rid of Freddie Freeman because I've just acquired him in a league that I cannot get functional players ever. So I've acquired Freddie Freeman.
For 2 prospects.
It was a good deal.
Rockies prospects.
It was a good deal.
Hey, the Rockies, they're good.
They're just an unlucky team, kind of like the Hanshin Tigers in ABA. So if you believe in luck and you believe that luck is just consistent for franchises, please trade away your Freddie Freeman assets in any other league you have because he will probably get caught doing something. He's probably doing steroids right now, right in front of Rob Manfred, and he's going to get shut down for the year. So trade away Freddie Freeman. Those are my final thoughts. Peter, I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, that can only help.
Well, I didn't take the time to do screen grabs of these things to not use them. And we shockingly didn't talk about baseball. I feel like that was for the first time ever. Real quick, I just wanted to show the Mets and the Yankees projected starting lineup since Luke and Ram were kind enough to show me roster resources.
Roster resources, man.
The weekend I came off.
Look at you.
So don't cheer yet,
proud of
Luke.
you guys learning fantasy baseball. It makes me so happy.
So don't cheer yet, Luke, because that's your projected lineup.
That's hot. That's hot
garbage.
Hot lineup right there. And the only thing that makes it really hot is the guy that's batting leadoff. The guy that's batting leadoff just gets me so sweaty.
I don't know, man.
I can't imagine a better leadoff hitter. I can't imagine.
I do want to say, I got to say something about this. I recently learned, thanks to WBC, Austin Wells is Dominican.
No,
he is. Austin Wells is Dominican. Austin Wells is half Dominican, and he is playing for the Dominican Republic in the WBC. I just want to be very clear. I did not know this. And I was like, this is like me looking at Ash, and I found out that Ash is half Dominican. I did not bet that Austin Wells was half Dominican. I thought it was really cool. It's not me lying to you guys. If you Google it, you will find it.
You are not lying.
No, I never lie. That's why I talked
That's
about
like
the Pro
Lars
Bowl being
Nootbaar
like the best.
last time.
Yeah, but Austin Wells is half Dominican, and he's being recruited to play for the Dominican Republic World Baseball Classic. So when I see it, it made me laugh. I'm like, you got a guy, Jose Caballero. Is he? No. Austin Wells is your Dominican, man. Austin Wells is your Dominican at the end of that lineup, and he's rounded out.
And
but
then we
Peter,
have,
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Then we also have the Mets, which again I'll never forget. It was a solo me and Luke podcast. We're talking about the Brandon Nimmo trade and how it did, and I agreed with him that it didn't make sense. But it looks like David Stearns put the pieces together. I mean, this is a pretty solid lineup.
That's a hot lineup. That's a hot lineup, Peter.
While I disagree with who I saw that there were some projections for World Series. The Mets were third. I thought that was quite high, but that's a pretty solid lineup.
I think my only critique is the guy batting in the sixth spot should probably be batting third or fourth. Like I don't know why the disrespect from.
Well, I think at some points he will, because not every game, but some games he can be like the second best hitter on the Mets. But it's not.
I also think it's insane that he's DHing. Like I think he's a very good defender. I don't know how good Bo Bichette is going to be at third base, but I would take my bets that I would much rather have Brett Beatty at third base than Bo Bichette.
And here's what I will say: the hitter for the Mets, not Dominican, but he is Native American.
Carson Bench.
Carson Bench is Native American. Actually had, this is also not a lie. Carson Bench, Native American. He's part of the Cherokee tribe.
Wow.
Also, the Mets lineup significantly younger than the Yankees lineup.
But that's not a surprise. We've talked about this on this show, that the Yankees are an aging team, and I am very, very nervous. I'm very nervous about the lineup and how old it is, because you're just running the same team.
Older than Juan Soto. I'm staring at that. I'm realizing that's so weird to me. Bo Bichette is older than Juan Soto.
You're talking about a few months. Like, that's not.
Also, I mean, Juan Soto's been in the league since he's like 4 years old. So,
but that's why, like, my brain thinks like I've seen Juan Soto forever.
No,
so in my head,
that is the crazy thing about Juan Soto. Like, people are talking about, like, you need to DH Juan Soto. Like, you need to.
Luis Robert Jr. is older than Juan Soto, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. No, he should still be playing the field. Like, he should be a regular everyday outfielder at 27 years old. Like, get that crap out of here. He should be playing first base. Get the fuck out of here.
I will say, let's not get too excited about Lou Bob. I mean, he has not been a good hitter since 23. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he's
one more the White Sox and doesn't give a shit.
No,
I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. Everybody said the same thing about Eloy, and he's not even in the league anymore.
I know, and everyone said the same thing about Andrew Vaughn, and he continued to play horribly as soon as he left the Chicago White Sox.
Ash, this is what I'll say. Who's he replacing in center field? He's replacing Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, so it's a huge upgrade in that regard.
It's a huge upgrade. Even his floor is an upgrade.
Penciled in roster resource to play center field before you signed Lou Bob, or traded for Lou Bob, was absurd to me. I think there's still some question marks with this lineup, to be honest. Like,
yeah, no, I think the Braves are a much better team. On
Atlanta will not make the playoffs. I said this last year.
Atlanta's going to win the division.
So Atlanta's had really good offseason, but Atlanta's had a really good offseason, objectively.
They've got nobody at shortstop. I mean, Mauricio Dubon, come on.
But they had Kim. He's just hurt. He got himself hurt doing something. I don't know how he got hurt.
Ice skating.
But is that really true? Because I heard some.
I don't remember how he got hurt, to be honest. But
God help me. But no, I think the Braves have actually objectively had a really good offseason, and with the consideration that Strider's probably going to be more useful this year, as much as I hate him.
You would hope.
I would hope not.
The Mets.
I would hope he retires, but
I don't want him to retire. The Mets own him.
I think there's a lot of question marks with him. I mean, he's basically a 2-pitch pitcher, which doesn't usually play well as a starter. He wasn't very good last year. I think there's a lot of questions.
I think there are questions, but I do think he'll be better this year. I think
Chris Sale not getting any younger.
Sale.
Yeah.
No shortstop. Austin Riley has been bad the last 2 years, basically.
Been hurt. Yeah, been hurt and bad. Acuna's good when he's on the field, but
can he stay on the field? Ozzie Albies is not very good. In fact, Ozzie Albies and Michael Harris, like people gave the Braves shit about those contracts, but if they didn't have long-term contracts, both of them would have been benched last year.
Oh yeah,
Like Michael Harris has been awful the last 2 seasons.
No,
Harris would have been demoted.
Actually,
without
Michael
a
Harris was bad in the beginning of the year and turned around in the back half. I don't think his numbers were that bad.
No, he had an 83 WRC plus for the season. An 83.
I don't
Well,
think
sounds like you guys could use a player like Trent Grisham.
they could have. They could have. A lot of teams could use a player like Trent Grisham.
If Michael Harris didn't have a long-term contract, he would have been demoted last year as bad as he was. Like he was awful. He hasn't had a WRC plus over 99 since 23.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Is that your final thoughts? Do you just take?
Yeah, that's my thoughts. The Atlanta Braves will not make the playoffs.
Those
They're
are
going
good
to win the
players.
division.
Those are very concise.
It is. It's intended to be.
Very concise. Well, I think you know what?
I missed Ed tonight, by the way.
I think that's a great. I think that's really just a great way to close out the New York Power Hour, talking about the Atlanta Braves and how they're not going to make the playoffs.
We went off the rails the last 20 minutes of this show, so
That's the way it's supposed to go.
We weren't on the rails at all last
healthy.
time, so
That's what happens when you have Cocaine Luke on the show. I mean, I'm just gonna take you off the rails.
The most sober man that I know pretends to be Cocaine Luke is outstanding. It continues to like. God help me.
It's better than the Luke Island Railroad.
I love Luke Island Railroad. I love how much
he gets aggressive.
I know.
Whenever you guys talk about New York things and pretend like I don't know what New York is, I get very.
I forgot what happened when we saw each other. Peter was about to explain something to you, and you had a moment where you were like, "I know, like
I know what New York is. Like I used to live there. I grew up there, bud."
But now you're just a simple.
You're down south
with Ash.
I'm just a simple country. I'm just a simple country.
South rooting for the Braves with Ashley, and things have changed. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God,
well, on that note, talking about the Atlanta Braves, I think it's a great way to end the New York Power Hour. Thank you all for watching tonight and tuning in. From Peter, Ash, and Ram, Prince Silver. I'm not Jeff, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Peace out, y'all.
Hey, you did it. Good for it.